I'm Kate Champion and I'm the director of That Eye the Sky. That Eye the Sky is an adaptation of a novel that I think it was maybe Tim Winton's third novel. Anyway, it was written in 1986 and it revolves around the Flack family and their neighbours, the Cherries. The Flacks are Sam and Alice, the parents, and Ort and Tegwin, the children. And there's a sudden tragic event. The father is involved in a car accident and is eventually brought home in a sort of coma state. And it's how this affects the family, particularly through the eyes of Ort, the 12-year-old, who's on the precipice of puberty, but there's also Tegwin, 16, rejecting her family, as a lot of 16-year-olds do and need to do. And a stranger comes to their house and offers help, and it's all these elements, how the rupturing of the family and trying to cope and what they can decide to hang on to in order to have faith that they're going to be able to live through it. Well, it's funny, I always say the vernacular. It's the way he manages to be very Australian without seeming forced, or it's not on the surface. It's genuine and feels so authentic. And I just actually read a note from him that said that it was the first time he'd done balls to the wall, unapologetic Australian vernacular, and I can't put it any better than that. And there's something that we all relate to with that. And I love his resistance to closure, how he keeps things, it's not frustrating, it's not ambiguous, but he doesn't tie things up neatly. And I think that causes and forces the audience to question things more rigorously and thoroughly than just going away with a nice sort of A to Z narrative. Well, faith is explored in That Eye the Sky in many different ways, both through the coded form of known religion, but also through quite mystical apparitions that Ort has. So he sees a cloud over the house that nobody else sees. In the book, actually, jars are filled with jewels that no one else sees. And it's interesting, talking to the designer, Jeff Cobham, we both related to it as migraine symptoms. So it can be that medical or chemical, or you could see it as visions. So again, I think Tim Winton allows that ambiguity to sit in a really comfortable place. Where I was brought up an atheist, and I've recently gone through a situation where my lack of faith was challenged. So I'm bringing all of that to this along, and it's exactly what the Flack family are going through. They're grasping, they're trying to find things to get them through this. So I think that's what Tim Winton and that's what we're trying to do, is to explore human nature's desire to explain the mystical. It's funny, I've been asked why That Eye the Sky, being 30 years old, and its themes are so universal. As I've said, questions of faith, adolescence, family, the fragility of life, the difference between a sort of semi-rural and an urban existence, just the family unit in itself, and how those relationships can often be so testing. So they're not stuck in an era, they're not stuck in a time, they're universal and timeless, and so it will always be relevant, I think, even 30 years from now.